We on?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Ellie. How you doing there? Okay.
I'm not hearing you probably.
Okay, he's not hearing me. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, again. And we'd like to get a soft start this morning and just see how far we can take this. But we'd like to wish our President Leslie the best as she embarks on her triathlon today in Miami. So I'm not sure what the weather is like, but more power to her.
I think it's beautiful over there, actually.
Is it?
It's beautiful on this side of the peninsula. So.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's great. And wanted to touch base with you folks. I'm glad that I have internet to be able to host this meeting today, as well as, power. That's always a consideration. So I wanted to talk a bit. Okay, Paul, I got a message from him that his internet is kind of unstable, but hopefully you can hear us there. I know I can't see a video, Paul, but hopefully you can hear us. I wanted to touch a bit. I don't know if it's been done in my absence, but just to touch a bit on this hurricane season, which is not over yet. Many of our members, nearly half, have been affected in one way or the other. We have in St. Martin, we have Keturah, Bonita. We have Lou. She has properties in Anguilla that are affected. Thank God she's not there right now. Probably not looking back to come in right now with no power. We have John from St. John, and thankfully he's not there right now because there's no power there. It's very, very hard hit in St. John.
Oh, John went back.
I'm sorry?
John went back to St. John?
I don't think so. I think he's back and forth trying to manage, there's nothing to go back to, quite frankly.
I tried to tell him not to, at least for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, but you know how hard that is. I mean,
I know. I've
had the same thing here with people that their house has been destroyed, but because there may be, a thing or two here that they may find, it's just, they have to go back. They have to keep going back. And it's very hard. And on St. Croix, we have Dev, and we have, Jackie and Troy. I had to glance at my notes there. And again, all affected. On St. Thomas here, well, I'm here. I'm fine. Thank you. Have damages, but nothing severe. And Amaryllis would normally be here, but she was in Puerto Rico. And she's still there. And Puerto Rico was, I don't know how to quantify the different areas, but also very, very hard hit. So pretty much all of these areas that I mentioned and the people that I mentioned have no power right now. And I'd like for you guys to take a minute and let that resonate, because these are one of the things that we take for granted until it's gone. And their families have no power, and, internet is not something that is easy to come by for any lengths of time. And phone service is just coming up in some of these areas. And so the district has responded in a huge way and have shipped off trailers of supplies to some of these hardest hit areas. What I'd like to talk about today is our club, because again, nearly half of our members are affected in one way, form, or fashion. And I would suggest that we do something. Obviously not anything like what the district can do or did do or is doing, but at least let's see if we can, after reaching out to everyone, because I think we've touched base with everyone by now, and we know that everyone is safe, which was the first and foremost issue. But folks have children and grandchildren, and they're starting school. They're trying to start up school. And so now picture this. public schools are starting, and the kids are going out, and the place is still on a curfew. At least, let me speak about the U.S. Virgin Islands first, because it's easier for me in that regards. No power. So quite a few persons have secured generators by now. The schools that they were able to salvage, they've begun to open them this past week, and they're going to look to reopen next week. Many of them are doing double sessions because several schools were totally demolished. And so picture, the children are going to school, and then they get off, and the generators are allowed to run. If it's a non-permitted generator, it's allowed to run up until 10 o'clock. And, because otherwise, then as you notice, it gets out of hand. And if you don't try and control it some way, you'll never get any sleep, because the neighbors, after a while, they're like, I need power. So
it'll cause physical problems among neighbors. It really will.
That's right. So, as the curfew, it starts rather. Curfew starts in the evening now at 8 p.m. And it starts that early because poles are still down. We have hundreds of linemen, the local crews as well as crews from the States that are here now. And so the work is speeding up, but poles and cables are still down. They've effectively tied cables and moved them out of the way to the best of their ability, but literally poles are hanging in the street. I have tons of pictures that one day I'm going to be able to upload for you guys. So it's very dangerous. Cars going around at night, there've been several accidents of cars flipping over because they got caught in a cable, and the cable is going to win. And so curfew starts at 8 o'clock, and the schedule that kids have, by the time they throw the homework on them, it's going to take them past 8 o'clock. So what happens then? So if they don't have generators, which is much of the children in public schools, what are they going to use? Candles or flashlights or whatever? So what I would recommend is, if the club is in agreement, perhaps we can look for a low-cost LED lantern. And I was specific with that because LEDs throw the most light for the least energy draw. We can get something standardized that uses like AA batteries that are most accessible now, and the stores are restocked and a lot of the stores are open, so batteries are available. A LED lantern would last for several hours, and for a student using it, it can last for several days before you change the battery. We can get, just from a cursory look, we can get bulk packages of, like, say, 4 LED lanterns that have at least 300 lumen power, which would be powerful enough to not just light a room, but sufficiently have a child studying without impacting the vision. We can get like a 4-pack for retail for less than $20. Now, it may not sound like much, but if the club is amenable to doing something like that, I'm tossing in $200 towards this goal, and that's the first set of them. And if it's something that we'd like to do, maybe I can do more, and we put it together, see what we can get, the best bang for the buck. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly a lantern, but it has to be as much light as possible with as low power draw as possible, using standardized batteries, preferably AA, which are the best accessible right now, and distribute them in the hardest hit areas, whether it's in the Virgin Islands, where I'll remind you the club is headquarters, or in the BVI, which is very hard hit, and we can get our clubs over there to distribute, or wherever we distribute them and decide to distribute them. But as schools come online, I'll give you an estimate that here in the Virgin Islands, people will be out of power until the end of December at a minimum. So as they're ramping up and fixing different areas, you know, there's still going to be plenty of kids that would be using candlelight or something else that may not be as efficient. And if that sounds pretty good to you guys, I'm not asking for any minimum donation, but if everyone is in agreement, whatever you can do would be greatly appreciated. And you know, we can also pull from other sources to try and add to whatever funds we may be able to put together. Yes. Yes, Don, go ahead, please.
From experience in this scenario, I would suggest that instead of AA's, which can still be expensive and hard to come by, there's a fair number of those lanterns now made with a hand crank or even with solar. And my experience was that those worked and that you didn't have to run around trying to get batteries. Otherwise, yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
That's great. You know, I guess the key would be if we can find something that's cost effective, but that's a great idea. I'd be willing to do that research. Hey, Dennis, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John. Don, you were finishing, Dennis?
Sorry. Don, go ahead.
Don?
You may be saying the same thing. My other question would be, where can we source them and how do we get them into the Virgin Islands in time to be of use?
Okay, great question. That is a valid concern that we touch bases and verify what a respective vendor can do and in what time frame. It may be easiest for logistics purposes to move it into the U.S. Virgin Islands, even if it's going to the BVI or somewhere else. I know to the BVI, if it comes into the USVI, I can get it over in the same day. The other islands, other than the USVI or the BVI, it'd be a little bit more, but we can probably still figure it out. It may, you know, we'd have to check it out. And, you know, but it's a valid concern. Dennis.
The other possibility we might look into are small rechargeable lights. I know they're available.
The issue is what are they going to recharge it with?
Well, that's it. But they would have to have electricity during the daytime to do that. Right. Sometimes that's a real problem. Sometimes it's not so much of a problem. Maybe we do, you know, maybe if they have a generator, then they have to turn the generator off at 8 o'clock because their neighbors are out on their, you know, they'll have be able to recharge them, and they'll be able to recharge them for their neighbors, you know.
Yes, so, that's a thought.
So maybe there's.
I'm thinking that the vast majority of students in the public school system may not have a generator at home.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that.
Okay.
And
all right.
I know that batteries are easily accessible because that's the first thing that, you know, flooded all the shipments coming in.
Sure.
Batteries are there now, and yes, it is a cost, and so we want to look at that other side in terms of solar or hand crank to see if it's better to go down that road. If
maybe there's a mix that we provide, you know. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm definitely in. You know, put it together. I'm in.
Okay, thank you. Lou?
Okay, I have another, just what we have done under the, like, Friends of Anguilla banner, I guess you'd put it. We have sent US cash down. We had a friend leave from Toronto a few weeks ago, and she took down cash for people who need it, because that's one of the biggest problems in Anguilla. There's so many people that are unable to work right now. They have lost their jobs because resorts are closed.
Yes.
And of course, they're in the process of getting their lives back too. Fortunately, the schools are back now, but like you say, the children are doing homework by candlelight.
That's right.
And their lives are changing in the sense that, yes, they have to get that as much done before it gets dark as possible. Yes. And it gets dark early.
That's right. And it's going to get earlier as it gets done.
That's right. So our feeling was give them cash because they know what they need and how they can make best use of it. The hardware stores are open, and all these Best Buy and grocery stores, they sell lights, they sell whatever. And so maybe if you just do a cash influx, then people can get what they need.
Well, the
That's
USVI has plenty of money in circulation. I don't think that's a problem, but I do think that the little kids need, I think it's a great program. It's something that a family would think about sort of last, and it would mean so much for kids.
let me say that of all of these affected areas, the rebuilding effort, the effort to stabilize the areas are all at different levels right now. So the U.S. Virgin Islands has passed the first level, which is would be considered a rescue and initial assessment, stabilization to make sure everyone is fine, life and limb. So that part is gone. And the next part, in terms of providing basic necessities, water, canned goods, whatever, all of that is taken care of pretty much in the Virgin Islands. Yes, there's still some smaller distribution centers open, distributing stuff from FEMA. And when they close is not necessarily a good marker for when people don't have the need. But for the most part, I think it's fair to say that water for drinking purposes and basic food needs are being met. That's one of the reasons that they're pushing to open schools so early, because that way they can give kids breakfast and lunch there to make sure that they're eating something during the day, as well as, a host of other reasons why they need to get that going. But I wanted to submit that one of the things we should think about is how, if we wanted to move forward, how we would execute. Should we try and focus on one particular territory or area? Should we try and spread around as much as we can? Do we think we would have an effective response if we went one way versus the other? So all of that is considered. Howard, you were first, though? Before
No, well, I think we need to consider the area of greatest need in terms of the distribution of the resources. Instead of well, my opinion, instead of spreading it across, because you want to effect the greatest change within the shortest time possible. And I think the persons or the area with the greatest need would need our help the most. That's just my opinion.
Point well taken. Point well taken. Dennis?
I think if we try and do too much as just a few people, we're going to fall flat. And right now, there's a very large push in the district that's being handled by the district chairs. I get updates probably every couple of days from them. I think
I contribute the update from the U.S. Virgin Islands for the district thing.
Okay, so you know exactly what I speak, and they're really handling an awful lot of things on that level. So right. I think what I'm reading with you, Brent, is that we should probably target, a specific need, and then hit that specific need with something that we can handle ourselves, because we're only a few people, and we can only raise so much money, and we can only deliver so many things, but we can make a difference with 20 or 30 people right away. So I think that's what we ought to do.
I would support that. Don?
Yeah, and the other thing you run into, it's nice to try and cover BVI and U.S. Virgin Islands, but if we've only realistically got funds to come up with 40 or 50 lanterns,
yes.
What you don't want to do is give 2 or 3 in each class here and 1 class there, and then you're just signaling out 2 or 3 kids per class to be special, and that, I can promise you, does not work well. It's
well taken. So What I hear you saying is that in addition to determining which area, geographic area that we're going to focus on, but go further and perhaps identify a particular public school for that matter.
Yes,
That
or even a class.
Identify a small enough area of intervention that you can be fair.
okay.
And don't just be symbolic in two or three lanterns in one place and 2 or 3 in another, because you're just going to cause more problems. Because you're introducing something that doesn't get.
And in a particular, let's say we take a particular case, a particular class in a particular school that with 30 children in it or 26 children in it, we've got 20 lanterns.
Right.
You know, get that the teacher and the principal of that school and say, listen, who are the students in this class that need them? Because there's going to be 10 students in that class that don't need them.
That's correct.
So
that's correct. All right. So the question would be, which I think is one of the first, is part of the first assessment that's made when the students are coming in. Who has generators at home?
Good.
They kind of separate the classes and they talk to them. And, you know, well, at least that's what happened in private school.
And that has to be done in a micro fashion. You know,
that's right.
Absolutely local.
Right. I think we should. Go ahead, Don.
Oh yeah, go Don.
You could even sort of adopt a class approach and give like 5 lanterns to each teacher and say, have them sign them out. The kids can rotate using them based on who's doing what. Kids sign them out and bring them back if that would work, so that it becomes a shared resource that everybody gets part-time.
I don't think that would work as well, only because generally people don't take care of things, you know, that's
I hear you, but
as much as if it was.
I hear you.
Yeah. Louis, hand up for a second there.
No, I was gonna say just briefly.
Howard?
Yeah, I was just gonna say briefly we should involve Jackie because she has the wherewithal and the organizational background to help out. So once we identify the framework,
yes,
we can get her involved to see how we can.
Absolutely. I'd like as much input from every member as possible. Whatever you guys can do, the club is us, you know, and so half of practically is affected.
I think you've got a program, Brent. Let's go with it.
Yeah, I don't think that
Lou has something to say, Brent.
Able to join us today. I know she had to be working, but she may be able to pop in at some point.
Yeah, Lou.
Hello.
Okay, just want to have put out another reminder that Jackie had asked us, or Leslie had asked us as a club to remember to donate to World Polio Plus Day, which is what, next week?
It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
yep. And in fact, there's a Zoom meeting that people can join if they want to. I got a link to it. I think other people probably do as well. Yeah. But I plan on making a donation on Tuesday. So
right. So we are making donations to different things here. So.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm going to tell everybody what I'm going to donate. I'm going to donate $100. And the reason why I'm donating so much is that it's a 2-for-1 match with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That means I'm donating $300. So you can see how that works.
Well, hey, Dennis, send me that link, please.
Okay, we'll do.
I'll do 100, so that'll be 300 more.
Well, you don't need to do it. You can do just through our club, through the donate thing with our club, and specify that it's for polio.
Right. And you're saying that, that's a separate match that you're doing in addition to...
Exactly. The other thing is a Zoom meeting, and that is going all day. If you want me to send you that link, I will do that.
Okay, so just on our club site, just donate 100 and put for World Polio Day.
I'm donating 100, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I will do. Before Tuesday. Okay. I'll do that today.
Dennis?
Yep.
In honor of next month being Foundation Month, if you do that donation through Rotary.org, which is what our website is linked to, then it also becomes part of our Every Rotarian Every Year listing, right? Because right now we've only got a couple members who've done their donation for the year.
I think that if you do it through our donate button as well, the same thing will happen, won't it? I believe so.
It's set up correctly.
I'm not sure about that, because you're saying, Don, that if we donate through our website and Diana receives that remittance, that you're thinking that it's counted towards
E-R-E-Y. Erie, I think so.
It should. The club should have the reporting set up so that when they send it on to foundation, you can report it person by person. It's a donation for the foundation.
I believe Diana has done that. You know, she's very good at that.
Yeah,
donation for World Polio Day is actually being remitted to the foundation.
Yeah, it's all going into the polio fund at the foundation.
Foundation. Okay.
It's the polio fund that gets the match from Gates. It's not individuals.
That's right. But it's all part of the Rotary International Foundation.
Understood.
And then it meets our Erie obligation per club, which is one of the things that you get rewarded on that Leslie wanted us to work toward for district awards at the end of the year, is that it's a 100% participatory club.
Yep. Every Rotarian every year.
I'll make sure, Lou, that I do my part. And if we don't have good attendance today, but if I don't know how if during the week, maybe you can, not even during the week, because it's Tuesday's the deadline.
Reminder on Monday.
Could you send out to all the club members a reminder if it hasn't gone already? Maybe I didn't get one or whatever. I'm not sure about it, so that everyone,
a reminder in the how-to button. This is the steps you take to make sure it gets counted correctly.
I would have missed it if you guys didn't mention it to me. So thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So then that's World Polio Day. Cover that.
Lou had something to say. Hold on, Brent. Lou, you had something to say?
Yeah, I can send out the reminder part of the Happy Monday.
Okay.
And we want money on
Perfect.
Tuesday.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
I don't know how happy they'll be by Tuesday, but okay.
Well,
I'll definitely thank you for that reminder. Okay, so I don't hear any nays. You guys are in agreement. We should maybe try and do something, get in and fit in like that. Okay, so what I came away with is What I came away with is hey, how are you doing? On the video conference. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. What we've agreed to so far, Camille, if you're hearing us, we were talking about doing a targeted, do what you're doing. I just wondered if you were hearing me. If we can do it, we're talking about doing a targeted effort to bring some low cost, high luminosity lanterns to one of the worst affected areas where school children are starting to reset and go back to school and having to go to school for extended months without power at night to do the homework. So we haven't arrived at any particular item. We're going to research to see if we can find something that's either solar powered or hand cranked that's affordable. But again, the best value is going to win. I'll start looking at it and should be able to distribute maybe an email on Monday when I get back into work. And by then, I should pretty much have some options, and I'll just distribute it to everyone, and along with what the proposed goal is, and hopefully we'll have all of the members buy in, and no donation is too small. We've already identified that we can get small lanterns that have high luminosity for at least a 4-pack for less than $20. My donation stands at least $200 towards whatever the club may agree to do. Something else came to me. I don't know if this would work, but I know there's these little round, like the lamp lights for if you don't have the closet lights, if you don't have a light like in your closet, you can stick one of these up, and it works on 1 or 2 AA batteries. It lasts for hours. Is very bright, and that may be even a better buy. Again, just putting it out there. We hadn't agreed on a particular solution, but it's a thought that everyone seems to be in agreement with.
I think that's a good idea. You should look into that one. That is definitely a good idea.
Okay.
I think it would be also used outside of this situation. If light goes under normal circumstances, it's something that doesn't necessarily, you can get at least 2 to 3 years out of that. Because I have some. I have
okay,
them.
Well, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can use those anywhere, stick them anywhere, mount them anywhere, and when the battery goes, you change a small AA or something like that and keep it moving. But again, it came to me because we're trying to find the best value. So maybe for that same $20, we may be able to get 10 of those, and who knows. But I'll do some research on it, and I'll submit, quantify the research and submit it to everyone so y'all can see. And hopefully it's something that we can do and move out relatively quickly. And we still need to decide on where we're going to serve, because I think we're in agreement we should focus on one of the hardest hit areas and target maybe a class or a school, depending on how many devices we're able to get, and focus on that. That's our thing from our club. So if you guys have any more thoughts on that, I really can't speak to damage outside the USVI and BVI. I haven't spoken to many other people, but I know you guys have. So
I think this sounds like a good plan, and I think that making it children-centric, and the reason why is literacy to, it all...
I didn't even put it together like that, but yes.
It all works really nicely that way.
Yes.
I think that's...
Okay. I'll do some homework, and I'll set a timeline for myself by sometime Monday. I'll send out something that you guys all can see.
Great.
Hopefully everyone else buys into it also.
Okay.
So, okay, are we trying to cover anything else for today? And again, Camille, we had reminded everyone, myself included, because I didn't even know, by Tuesday, the club is trying to get everyone and their friends to do whatever they can to contribute something to World Polio Day. And the easiest way for members to do it is simply go online. And, well, I guess for anyone, it would be to go online to our website and, whatever remittance, nothing is too small, would be just tag it as for World Polio Day. And it'll go to Diana would make sure it gets to the right place. So just a reminder there, because I missed the email apparently, and I didn't even know, so. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, noted.
Thank you. Okay, so folks, are we covering anything else today? Or?
No, Brent, you've done a terrific job today. Thank you so much.
I can't do anything without you guys. You guys are a great club. Thank you for your support and all of that. And, I appreciate that. Thank you for everything. And
Good job.
we'll keep it moving on this end, to the best of our ability.
Okay, well, good luck. I hope how about your own house?
Well, I lost my meter base and all of my fruit trees, which is so minor compared to everybody else.
Yeah,
had some water that was redirected from across the street, and then of course it came straight from my meter base. Up the whole thing out. Next thing, it came tumbling down.
Oh my.
Just to add,
I needed to do some improvements anyway. I wanted to change it from 100 amp to 200 amp. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Now you will.
Brent.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I know Leslie had said something about us looking at activities for Foundation Month.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to use the next 10, 12 minutes that we have looking at that.
Sure, we can. If you have any updates on that or ideas, happily, sure.
I'm just looking at her email. she had an idea to have us donate $5 to $10 towards the foundation every mile or kilometer we walk. And we set a target of 1 to 5 miles. I guess that would be one idea for an activity. And she's asking Dawn if she had any initiatives towards that.
Okay.
I had been thinking of that. I think the idea to help the British and U.S. Virgin Islands or something like that is important, and we may be able to connect that somehow through the district. But other than that, supporting World Polio Day is definitely supporting foundation as well, because it's a foundation program.
Okay.
There's not enough people to do it this week, so I'll do it next. I was going to just go through our Club Foundation banner report, and it says who's achieved the donation for this year, who's achieved their Every Rotarian Every Year status, who's achieved sustaining member, and who hasn't. And frankly, right now I only see about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, 2 of them being Diana and Roger, who've given since July, and only they plus 2 more who've achieved Erie for this year. So the thing to do is to make a donation, and the Polio Plus Polio Day on Tuesday is still October, but that'll count for the year. So the best thing I can say right now is give, even if it's not 100%.
Very good. And I wanted to reiterate that she's just said that our donation to World Polio Day is at the E-Ray if we do $2 minimum, right?
Yeah.
We decided on?
Well, every Rotarian every year doesn't have to be a minimum of 100.
Okay.
That's the recommendation. There's several district awards that are based on, does your club get up to an average of $100 a member for all the members?
Okay.
So usually the foundation
is that aggregated? Can that be aggregated across? Like
there's two things they look for. One is, did every member give something? Like Ellie in Haiti, we know his income is not going to support $100 as easily as some of the rest. But did everybody give something?
Yes.
And then after that, separately, they look at, does the average for all the members get up to 100, so that someone who has a little more can give more, and then someone who can't give 100 gives a little less, and it averages out. There's separate statistics, and every year for quite a few of the last years, districts and Rotary International have looked at both.
Okay, and lastly, does it make a difference to you and to our goals for Foundation Month that some of that is done within November, or any time?
It's more important that it gets done anytime, but November's the month where Rotary focuses on everybody cashing up and getting it done, because after that, then people's attention go to other things, and a lot of folks just plain forget to get it done before March. So if you haven't done it to now, it would be nice to at least start. Even if you don't get up to $100, it would be nice to start in November. But if Polio Day is next Tuesday, then fine. Before we even get to November, let's get going and get the match.
I'm at a disadvantage. I'm not sure I know all the funds that I'm supposed to be donating to. Is there a list? Because
I can go over the presidential and district citations and see what's being asked in that.
Okay.
What you absolutely have to do is your club dues.
Yes, I know
that covers the club, and that covers the international dues. What you're really, really supposed to do is to at least donate something to the foundation every year.
Okay.
And the suggested donation is $100 for the year for a start. If that's really tough right now because you're trying to rebuild a house or you don't have much income, okay, but the target is that $100. And then after that, there's a whole lot of suggested things that different projects people can get in on. But but that's the base minimum that Rotary International requires or strongly suggests.
And
Okay.
Dawn, this is what they refer to as being a sustaining member, right?
Yeah, if you give $100 regularly year after year, you become a sustaining member.
That's a separate
also one of the
program, and
criteria
that's
that
for
clubs are evaluated.
actually a Paul Harris Fellowship. If it's
Yeah.
a sustaining, see, if you go through 10 years of being a sustaining member, you automatically get another Paul Harris Fellowship. So that's what that sustaining membership thing is.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's Paul Harris on the installment plan.
Right, exactly.
All right.
And it works. Quite
Yeah.
frankly, it works. Yeah.
All right. I think Brent left us. Is there anything else that we should discuss before we go?
I think I'm good. Great seeing everybody today.
Yes. Yes. It was excellent. I
I
know we had
like your new office, Howard.
Oh my God! You know the story behind that, right? You were here last.
I do, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, getting real. All right. Well, if there is nothing else, with only 7 minutes to go, I think we can close off early.
Yep.
So let's close off with a four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it be build goodwill and better friendships?
Will
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And finally, we'll definitely make sure it's fun.
It
And
will
wear
be
socks.
fun. And don't wear socks.
Oh, don't wear socks. Oh, all right. I did that right. All right.
See,
so Rotary of the world.
everybody's smiling. That's what the idea is.
Jing, jing.
All right. Take care, everyone. And
Have
thanks.
a good one.
See you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Too short, Howard.